Welcome back to Crazy Ex Podcast. This time Roger and I watched Season 1, Episode 15, Josh Has No Idea Where I Am. As always, we'll start off with a synopsis. On a flight to move back to New York, Rebecca gets some dream therapy from dream ghost Dr. Akopian, who helps her see that she does have love in her life. When Rebecca discovers that Paula, Daryl, Josh, and Greg do really care about her, she decides to come back to West Covina. But while at her house, Josh discovers some photos that make him believe that Rebecca is in love with him. Roger, what did you think of this episode?
This might have been one of my favorite episodes of the season, which you probably could predict.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of good. Like, my liked is twice as long as my disliked. There's some things I have questions about, but this is probably the most tolerable Rebecca has ever been for me.
I mean, we saw her kind of have a realization in the previous episode, and this is the result of that. The villain in my own story.
Oh, yeah. But the villain in my own story felt like more or less, I'm feeling sorry for myself, nothing ever works out, like, woe is me. This felt like, all right, time to grow up.
Well, and interestingly, that is actually how Rebecca originally approaches the dream therapy.
Uh-huh.
Like, I have no love, no one loves me.
Yes, she definitely starts with woe is me, and then now I have questions about that.
To be fair, that flashback about her fucking dad that's a gut punch.
Yeah, let's start there. One, happy we got to see Silas.
Yeah.
I thought this did a pretty good job of two things. One, this is the most human Naomi has ever seen.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, she absolutely is actually only caring about her daughter. She doesn't understand why. Like, she's even like, look, I'll stay. Do whatever you need. Just don't break the girl's heart. And Silas is a selfish bastard. And is like, he actually uses a line that I was like, oh my God, it's Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Because I think he specifically says, I can't have anyone holding me back. And I was like, whoa.
Or just, I have plans. It's like, what plans?
Well, I mean, it's not unreasonable to have plans and your, daughter unexpectedly dropped by. But, that's just a thing that you say, hey, I have plans tonight, but tomorrow we'll hang out or something. Like, you just adjust real quick. Well, he's basically saying, I'm not willing to change anything in my life and you're an inconvenience.
But also, Naomi doesn't get to just have plans. If something happens to Rebecca, she has to drop them to help Rebecca.
Yeah.
And he just gets to not be there. And Naomi...
I'm assuming Naomi has custody.
Yeah, I would guess so.
That's part of if you have custody, that's your responsibility.
But do we think that Silas should have custody?
No.
But she...
Or that he even wants custody?
Right. She lets Rebecca think that he wants to see her and that she's the villain.
Yeah, which is an interesting dynamic because... And I think I asked this question before, is it possible that Rebecca has basically always just made herself the victim? But we've seen Naomi enough to know, Naomi's also crazy.
Yeah, and she's mean to Rebecca.
She's absolutely mean. So it's not unreasonable that some of this is true, but definitely some of this is Rebecca's own, personal fantasy. I guess is the way I would explain that. This is not the last time I'm going to say it. How was she able to see a conversation she wasn't present for?
Yeah, dream ghost magic, I guess, but when they initially explain it, Dr. Akopian is like, oh, I'm not really here.
Sure.
This is you. You're having
the things you already know.
You're having a conversation with yourself.
Absolutely.
Which I think is actually a cool, thing.
Great.
She's, working through her own trauma, etc. But yeah, if you can see a conversation that Naomi... Which made me wonder initially, before the end of the episode, if Naomi actually did later tell Rebecca that, and she blocked it out so that she could keep claiming that Naomi was
what I
a villain.
thought is that, in a callback to what happened with Josh and Valencia, is that she was actually standing outside and then she blocked it out.
Yeah.
So she had seen this, or maybe she didn't really leave or something, but it seems like she wasn't there.
Yeah, because that could be possible, but then later when they go to the apartment, even Rebecca in it is like, how are we here? She's like, this doesn't make sense.
I'm not in the same state. There's no way I can be here for this.
And neither are you, and it just... Yeah, it's very hand-wavy about it.
Yeah, which is fine.
It's effective. The point of it is effective.
Well, it's also things that... So the first... I guess I'm less bothered by the second one. The first one bothers me because there is no way for her to have really come to that conclusion without that knowledge.
Yeah.
Whereas if you think about the conversation in the apartment, she could come to that conclusion based on other events and the way people have acted. like she could know that about Greg. You could know that about all of them. How would you know that about your dad?
Yeah, no, that is a good point. I also had that thought that she was sort of like starting to think about like, oh, maybe my friends do care about me. Mm-hmm. Like this is what Paula would do. This is what Daryl would do. This is what Josh would do.
Those are things seem in line with how they've like interacted with her. Mm-hmm. But I don't know that I understand the Silas thing.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe we'll get an explanation about it. I don't know.
I mean, I am convinced that all of this was in her head. That none of this is real. Because we already know she's crazy, and she does the musical dream stuff. Like
you mean the whole thing, like whole episode?
I think the entire episode was like Dynasty. There's a famous thing where there's a season that they just didn't want to do anymore, and they erased it, and he wakes up and everything didn't happen. And like, I am convinced that this entire episode is just a fucking fantasy in her head. That may have actually occurred. But I thought the flashback was a very effective flashback.
I also love that the flashbacks are accessed via the seatback television. And when you think about, assuming this isn't more Dream Ghost magic, when you think about this being like in Rebecca's head, they were all there and she could just click on them. So Rebecca knows what her trauma buttons are.
I know you don't like child actors. I think Rebecca's child actor actually is pretty good.
Yeah, I think she's good too.
I think she does a good job.
I like some child actors, like the Stranger Things kids are great.
Fair, we've never done a podcast about Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I know the person.
One-off child actors, often not great.
Well, I wouldn't call her a one-off. We've seen her multiple times.
I know, but like kids that are just show up as one flashback in a TV show. But yeah, she's been in many flashbacks.
Yeah. But she's not there all the time. But when she shows up, I think she does a pretty good job of playing Rebecca. Like,
yeah. I love that thing when her dad's like, why is your hair different? And she like goes into like a very detailed explanation of puberty without saying it.
I also, when I see her, I think about that conversation that she has with like her older self. She's like, so the boobs, when does that happen?
When
like,
do we get those?
When do we get those? And you see Rebecca like, well, like that is probably what you would think as a child going through puberty. Like, when does the good stuff start happening? Also
related to the flashback, Rebecca setting up the scheme to get to Santa Fe is like Paula level scheming. She created a P.O. box and like did all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and my assumption is that Silas called Naomi, which was not the wrong thing to do. He definitely should have called her to say that she was there, but he should have said, she's here, she's already here, why don't you just...
Let's make the best of this situation, hang out at a hotel.
Yeah, maybe either I fly her back at the end of the week,
or you guys just fly back together, and like, let's make it a weekend. But he very clear, and I think, it's made to believe, at least Rebecca in her mind says that, like, she kept me from you, and in reality, Silas kept himself from Rebecca.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that is it was a good flashback. Yeah, the scheme was very like next level. Mm-hmm. I actually think the line that Dr. Akopian hits her with, well, this wasn't the first time that you completely uprooted your life chasing after a man who wouldn't love you. I'm just like, damn! Not wrong though.
I love Dr. Akopian.
Ghost? Not even the real Dr. Akopian. This is just
Ghost Dr. Akopian. Rebecca's own head.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to say this. Rebecca really does have a mental illness.
Yeah.
But it's kind of shown. No, we're past kind of. Like, it's unquestionable there's something wrong with her.
I mean, I think she knows that. That's why she
knows that, but she isn't taking the medicine she needs. So knowing and doing something about it.
Well, apparently she's going to go to weekly therapy now.
Twice a week. Well,
that's what Dr. Akopian said.
She wants her to go.
Yeah.
She's going to go. I am impressed with how smart young Rebecca is. Like, that's wild to me that she's able to... for one, like, I don't know. I don't remember being a teenager. Maybe girls are just smarter than boys. I don't remember ever attributing anything to be like, oh yeah, this is just part of puberty. Like, the reason that my hair looks different are these, like, changes and they're irreversible. Like, she breaks it down almost similar to how she talks to the cop. Where she, like, breaks everything down in this, like, really technical level and just starts overwhelming him with a bunch of words. That's what that scene reminded me of when she's talking to her dad about her hair.
Yep.
Definitely now it changes the piece of the puzzle where, like, okay, Silas is also some of Rebecca's trauma, which is weird to think about.
Yeah, because we've been so focused on Naomi.
But it does make me wonder then how much of the Naomi stuff is real. I've asked that question before, and you definitely see some of it in the present. Mm-hmm. So it's not completely fabricated But now it makes me wonder, is like 50% of this fabricated? Is it being read wrong? Was she not always this bad and things got worse?
Well, and I think that Naomi also has, like, she makes herself the victim. And I think we'll see more of that.
Naomi?
Yeah. And, like, Rebecca has that. Like, they both do it. So it's not surprising that... I mean, Naomi says terrible things to Rebecca.
Yeah.
So, like, that's one that would just give you trauma. And then the, like... I could see how Rebecca, as an unreliable narrator, would also, like her mom, make herself even more of a victim. Like, it's not hard to take things Naomi says and make them worse.
Because it could be... Like, that's the thing. Even Naomi didn't mean it with intent. Because she's so normally like that, it's very easy to take it that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's just this, like, spiral of bad. Because you've got basically a bad person and a person who's... just a victim all the time.
Well, yeah, just because Naomi... Well, and I don't honestly know if it is the right thing that Naomi let Rebecca believe that her father was this, like, hero. I mean, maybe as a small child, but Rebecca is 26 now. Like, I think that she deserves to know some of this.
I don't know that deserves is the right word. I also think that, like... Would Rebecca have handled that well?
As a child, definitely not. But I don't know about
as an adult. I mean, she's not mentally well. I don't know that this would have helped the situation.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, a person who's obsessing over a high school boyfriend and uproots their life to try to chase them down probably isn't the type of person ready for a hard conversation about daddy leaving you.
Yeah.
I think daddy issues are a very real thing in Rebecca's life, and shattering that might be...
Well, abandonment is a big deal 100%. In Rebecca's life.
And, like, I think her getting there herself is one thing. I think mommy, who's already the villain in her story, telling her this might not have worked. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, Rebecca also at one point says to Dr. Akopian, you lie to yourself well enough, you can convince other people too.
Yeah. Yeah, like the whole, I didn't move here for Josh.
Yeah.
And that was obviously a lie the entire time.
The transition to the theme song in this episode was really good.
Because she just looks at the camera and just like, oh, yeah.
She's like, well. This is a line, but in the flashback, I also love when Rebecca's talking about coming to visit Silas at Christmas, and she says, I'm half Christmas anyway.
I'm half Christmas anyways, and I was like, oh.
Half Jewish.
Yeah, I was like, what does that even... Oh, I see it now. Okay, anything else about that flashback we need to talk about?
No. I guess the resulting conversation between Dr. Akopian and Rebecca about that flashback... But
that's on the plane/dream.
Yeah, the plane/dream.
Because it's on the plane, but, like, the conversation's happening in her dream.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. She... Rebecca's sort of like, well, why are you showing me this? That, like, I have a mother's love. Like, that's, like, bare minimum. Like, we're supposed to have that.
Yeah, it's funny. I never wonder... I always wonder how that is supposed to be judged. Because she's right, it is the bare minimum. However, like, plenty of people don't get that. So, like, there is something, too, that, like, well, at least you didn't do this. But I would also make the other argument, like, yeah, but you were, like, supposed to do that. Like, I don't know how much credit one should get for doing the thing that you're supposed to do while still being able to acknowledge that a lot of people don't do the thing. So, like, I guess you do deserve some credit. Like, I just don't know where that line is.
Yeah, I do think that this is an instance of Naomi making herself the villain, and she didn't have to do that.
This is a perfect example for going above and beyond. But, like, loving your kid is not a thing that I'm going to be like, you're such a good mom. Like, well, you should love your child. Yeah. But falling on your ex-husband's sword when he's a bastard, that's not a thing that's normally in mom's job description. And, yeah, so I always wonder, like, how much... Like, I guess I just don't know how to weigh that. Because that's always been, like, a thing to me. Like, you don't get credit for putting out the fire that you started.
Well, and then I think that's a good point, too, because of the lack of love that Rebecca has gotten from her father, any love that she gets from a man that she sees as a stand-in for her father, like any level, is above and beyond what she expected.
Except Greg.
Yeah.
Ironically, you would think she would run right into Greg's arms. And
she does.
No, she runs into Greg as like a comfort piece, but like... You would think, though, with how obsessed he is with her, that she would have just ran in and loved that. But, like, that's, like, the one thing she doesn't want.
Yeah.
Which is strange. Probably because she was just obsessed with Josh. Like she said, she's dreamed about him basically since they broke up, which is unhealthy.
Yeah. So the second flashback is the college musical flashback, which I just fucking love. This, like, guy that wrote a musical with really terrible lyrics about Moby Dick.
Okay, so this is where we're going to diverge a lot in the sense of your background is you were a band kid, theater kid to some degree, I'm sure.
I was never in theater.
But you like musicals, like you enjoy that. I am not. Like that is... I was a sports guy, I did debate, but like I think theater kids are fucking weirdos.
They are. Theater kids are fucking weirdos, so are band kids.
Fact. Both true. And so, like, seeing this, and like you're like, you know, you have the very clearly non-theater looking guy, but is still a theater guy, but he's like the roguish jackass. And yeah, his thesis is he's gotten everyone to do a play on Moby Dick.
Yeah, it's like pretty common when you were in like an arts degree to write. Like if you were doing like a musical director, you might like compose a piece of music, or if you like that's normal.
But is like everyone else getting credit for doing this play?
Well, they just want to do a play so that they can get credits on their resume so that they can then be in more plays.
Gotcha.
Because you can't just, like, walk up to Broadway and be like, I'm going to be in this play.
You have to audition, don't you?
Well, you have to audition, but they might not even let you audition if you don't have a resume.
Ah, I see.
And obviously it doesn't mean that much that you, like, did a show at your college, but it's better than, like, not having done anything.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, like, you can't just get in line. Like, you have to have an agent, and to get an agent, you have to have a resume, so... Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how tryouts work in the artsy world. Like, that's semi-true in sports, though admittedly, if you're a 6'4", 4'2" guy, you can just show up out of nowhere and someone will be like, oh, I'm interested, because, like, it's not subjective.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Like, I feel like if you can sing...
Musical theater is hard, though. Like, everyone can sing. Everyone that comes in...
But not everyone can sing like Ariana Grande.
Not everyone can sing like Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
Most... But this is even... Sometimes people are trying out for, like, the chorus. Like, the people that are in the back... And, like, you're singing, but you don't have a solo. Like, you just have to be able to, like, be good. And those people are really good, but there's just, everyone is good.
Yeah. I guess, like, I don't know how it works where, like, you're trying to, like, you know, it's easy in an athletic endeavor that, like, the cream of the crop just rises to the top. Because you're just better, right? The guy who can out-jump everyone, the guy who can outrun everyone that stands out, because you're kind of all doing similar-ish things. I don't know if that's true in the art world where you all have to sing a similar type of music, and you're like, holy shit, that woman can sing! Like, we need to cast her now.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about, like... I mean, the Phantom of the Opera, that is a very challenging role for the female lead. Like, I will
take your word for it.
There are very few women that could sing it. Most of the time, they have two women do it, because it's too hard for one woman to sing the whole show in one night.
Damn! So can anyone sing it?
No, definitely
not.
not.
Not even like your elite, like, who's the woman from Frozen?
Idina Menzel, she could probably do it. Although her voice might not be high enough, to be honest.
Jesus.
It's rough. But, like, most shows are not like that.
Sure.
But it's also acting. Like, because it's not just, like, you know, you don't hire...
performance.
Like, Meryl Streep is a really good actress, but, like, you just wouldn't hire her for certain roles because, like, that... I don't know. Like, she doesn't have the right look, or they're looking for, like, a look. And,
of course.
Yeah.
It's subjective.
Yeah.
It's not objective.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be able to sing, but, like, most people can. So, I don't know. Anyway, we just took a very large tangent.
You did take a very large tangent.
Thank you for listening to our TED Talk about musical theater.
Musical theater.
I'm sure Rebecca would have loved it. She would have had a lot to say.
She would have.
You made a funny point, which we learned for the first time. Rebecca Bunch, the person, cannot sing.
No! Holy fuck, she's bad. Like, look. I'm someone who couldn't carry a tune if you put it in a bucket of water. Like, it just is what it is. I know what a fellow bad singer sounds like. Rebecca Bunch, the person, cannot sing, despite the fact that Rachel Bloom, the actress, can.
Yeah, I would like to draw attention to how hard it is to sing badly.
So, here's what's funny. The only reason I know this, and I'm going to reveal something about myself that I'm not proud of. When I was with my ex-girlfriend years ago, we watched the show, or movie Step Up. Mm-hmm. Mostly a cheesy girl flick movie. But Channing Tatum is in that movie. And he has to play a dancer who's, like, learning to do, like, classical dance. And he had to do it off beat and off rhythm. And he was like, that was so... it was like impossible because he has to know what he's supposed to do and then intentionally fuck it up. So he would fuck up because he wouldn't fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like... And I'm like, when you see her singing off key, I'm like, that's really hard for... Like, I could sing off key easily because I can't hit the key. But for her, that's got to be hard.
Yeah, I mean, I as a person that can play instruments,
yeah.
I can hear it when it's wrong. And I sometimes can't correct it because I am not a gifted singer.
Sure.
And that is painful.
But, like, that feels easier to, like, just mentally accept. Like, you can't fix it as opposed to, like...
She can fix it.
I'm doing it right, now I need to break that. Like, because there's somebody, like, I know enough in sports about, like, you just build habits from a young age about, like, oh, I always do that. Okay, well, I'll stop doing that. But that's just... I don't consciously think about that. I do this because I'm supposed to do that right there. So it was funny. I'm like, oh, God, she's terrible.
She's terrible.
Despite the fact that she loves music, it was quite funny. Also, they did a good job of making her look... She says, oh, God, time to gain some weight. And they do make her look bigger.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the, like, freshman 15. Like, you gain... In college, a lot of people gain, like, 15 pounds because you're on your own for the first time, you're drinking, and oftentimes dining halls have unlimited... You can eat as much as you want.
So you're eating really bad food a lot.
Yep.
Okay.
And you have the freedom of, like... eating whenever you want. And not that you can't do that when you're a kid, but, like, your parents feed you dinner or whatever. Yeah. But now it's like, oh, I can have pizza 3 times?
That explains so much.
I've never heard of the freshman 15.
Oh, well, I've heard it. I just didn't necessarily like, think about what it meant. I remember we were making the joke in 2020, the COVID-19, because, we were all gaining weight from not being able to do that stuff. And then I realized that's obviously from the freshman 15. Yeah.
I thought this flashback was really interesting, actually, because they kind of set it up to be all about boys. And that actually was not what the flashback was about.
Well, it wasn't entirely about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, but the point of it was Rebecca loves music.
Yeah.
And
much so that she makes up musicals in her head and lives her life that way. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But I really like that she's like, oh, you're showing me this because I went for the hot senior instead of the sweet boy that I, like, had a connection with. And Dr. Akopian is like, no!
But doesn't it feel like that's the parallel to real life right now?
Well, not according to middle-aged women. That Greg is hotter than Josh.
Sure. But, like,
we can get to.
Yeah, it does feel like that, like the thing she did before is exactly what she's doing now.
Yep.
Also, the I don't know his name, but the senior plays a douchebag really well. Like, I just love the way that he's like, well, I never said we were exclusive, fish number 3. Like, and he's so...
She got promoted to fish number 1, Roger.
I assume she got promoted to that because they were sleeping together. Also, I love how casual he drops the, well, I'm just not willing to live my life that way as an artist. What? And, like, fine, maybe he just... I have no problem if you want to live the Charlie Harper lifestyle from 2.5 Men. But, like, you need to be upfront about that.
He's probably also, like, an accountant now.
Yeah. And he probably does the same thing now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's definitely an accountant now, actually, now that you say that.
I also love the scene where Dr. Akopian and Rebecca are, like, having commentary on the sex that Rebecca and the hot senior are having. It's like, does anyone like that?
I was trying to figure out what that was.
My assumption was teabagging, but I don't know.
People don't do that when they're having sex, do they?
Well, when you're trying to impress a hot senior, I don't know, maybe. You asked the question, Roger. Did you not want me to answer? Was it rhetorical?
No, I'm not. It's not a rhetorical question. It's just like that just didn't even... It didn't even occur to me that there are people out there who's like, it'd be hot right now. Let me drop my nuts on your face. Nope, didn't think that was a thing. Yeah, like, if I'm teabagging someone, it's because we were playing Halo. That's the only time I ever think of that.
Anything else on this flashback?
No. Yeah, but that was really funny. I don't know where it happened, but I do like that at some point she does the worst part of being a ghost. It always is about the guys. I know one of those two things, and I'm like, probably must be annoying. I'm trying to teach you a deep life lesson. Oh, it's about that guy. No, it's not about the guy. Oh, it's about the other guy. God damn it.
It's not about the guy.
I don't know who the less attractive one's name was, but at the point where Rebecca gets called up in the face and they're like doing the like very sensual dance and he goes, well, there goes that. Just the look of defeat, and I was like, oh, I bet you work at a bar right now. Probably called something like home base. Had a very similar feeling to me, like, damn.
Yeah. Before we talk about the Flash present,
I don't know what to call that.
Can we talk about the song Dream Ghost?
Absolutely.
Weirdly, the only song in the episode.
Yeah, it will win favorite song because it's the only song.
I love that the other two Dream Ghosts are Ricky Lake.
That's who that was!
And the other woman, it was in Glee. I love that.
I love that it was Ricky
And
Lake.
they're actually people that were on the plane. Like, Rebecca saw them and then, imagined them as Dream Ghosts.
I haven't seen Ricky Lake in a minute.
Yeah. Obviously, an excellent Dreamgirls, parody. It was great.
Yes. Didn't know Dr. Akopian could sing.
Dr. Akopian's got some pipes.
Yeah, no, she's great.
And her facial expressions, like when she was going back and forth between sitting next to Rebecca and being outside of the window, like, oh!
When she pops out of the window, I was dying laughing.
Yeah, she has at least 2 more songs in the show, and I think both of those songs are top 10 songs for me.
Oh, you have a top 10 list of songs?
Yeah, you can actually go and look up a list of all of the songs in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and, someone has ranked them.
But have you ranked them?
Not all of them.
I know we're going to do it at the end of the season. All right. So that song was really good. I thought it was funny. The Dreamgirls, parody felt perfect for this.
And we're all women because this job doesn't pay so well.
You really appreciate humor that mocks that, don't you?
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Every time I hear those little jabs, and they're not wrong. I don't disagree with those jabs, but it's one of those things. I feel like people of color find racial humor much funnier than someone who's white, who's that's not funny. It's well, yeah, but we're kind of making fun of you. Mm-hmm. And I always chuckle when I hear. It's not wrong though, but it doesn't pay that well. Also, the dental joke had me laughing my ass off.
Well, and then the follow up to that, where Rebecca's like. I didn't know that there were health plans that didn't include dental. Privilege much, Rebecca.
I mean, she's not wrong in the idea that, there shouldn't be.
Well, it's also, I have the same thing about vision insurance being separate. I'm like,
why?
My eyes aren't in my body? I don't understand. But it is covered, but only if it's a medical problem with your eyes.
What does that even mean? What's a non-medical problem with my eyes?
That you can't see, apparently.
Okay. There's a fun thing from the Harley Quinn show where Harley's in young Bruce Wayne's mind, and she's like, "Yeah, look at all these people who can't afford housing," and he's like, "People have to pay for houses?"
It's like that real interview with Mariah Carey. Have you seen that?
No.
Someone asked her, it's in another country, maybe England, and someone says something about, paying bills, and she was like, what bills? And he was like, electricity. And she was like, you don't have to pay for electricity in America.
No
it's
fucking
free.
way! That's amazing.
In America, it's free.
The more I hear about Mariah Carey, the more I think Nick Cannon dodged a bullet. Jeez.
I mean, that is just a...
But she didn't grow up rich, did she? That's what I don't understand.
Did she just get famous?
She got famous pretty young, but she would have been a teenager when she got famous. She wasn't
just never paid a bill? Yeah. I don't know.
Money is money is money. And then, my second question, and this is the bigger one. How did she see the conversation in her... She doesn't live in an apartment. She lives in a condo?
It's an apartment.
No. There's no...
She doesn't own it.
Yeah, you don't have to own a condo. You can rent a condo.
Sure, okay. Why?
But her apartment it's not like an apartment that's there's nothing. It's like a townhome. It's a townhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's not an apartment. It's a townhouse. How is she able to see that?
I don't know. I mean, I think
magic,
or that she's imagining that, when she's really forced to think about it, she's imagining how these people might react.
That makes more sense to me because otherwise I was like, this is not the podcast I thought we'd be talking about magic.
Yeah.
Except
that, which would make more sense if they weren't all actually there doing exactly what she saw.
She got it perfectly right. Yeah. Unlikely here. And is able to see things that really occurred. He really did do all of the calls to see if she was dead. Though I like that.
Well, we don't know. She saw that in the dream, so it's possible that he didn't do that. But the assumption is that...
That does seem like how Greg would react.
It does. Yeah. I mean, he would pretend like he didn't care, but he would actually try to solve the problem. and be worried about her.
But he takes the, like...
Well, he came. When Daryl texted
he did.
and said that Rebecca was in trouble, he came.
It's also that, like, he took the worst... Like, he's a pessimist like I am. So he immediately went to morgues. Gotta call hospitals and morgues.
I love that.
Not kidnapped. She's dead. And we need to figure out where the body is.
I kind of love the idea that Daryl and Greg have each other's phone numbers.
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen? They, like, hung out at the beach on beach day and shared phone numbers? Do they have a group text?
Well, Josh and Daryl are dating, and White Josh...
I was like, what?
White Josh is friends with Greg. So that actually...
Okay.
That would make sense to me. But now I really like your story from the group text. That would be way better.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I also really loved when Josh shows up at the apartment and Paula is there, just having the best personal day, when she thinks that Rebecca isn't away. And then Josh says something about, like, how did you know about my Hawaii trip? And Paula is just like, are you fucking serious, man? I know everything about you. I know all of the things. I know where your mom grocery shops. And
yeah, it's funny. I've been told by multiple female friends of mine that is actually very common, that they will share very intimate details with their friends about their partners. I'm like, that's fucking weird.
This actually, it wasn't an intimate detail, but it was like an intimate thing. This actually happened to me one time. I have a friend, and she was dating someone, and they weren't living together yet. And we were all having dinner together at her house, and I bussed there, and I got home earlier than her, and I let myself in, and I didn't think that her partner would be there. And he was like, you have a key? And I was like, obviously I have a key.
See, that is weird.
He definitely should have been told that I had a key.
Uh-huh.
But it's not weird that I have a key.
I mean, like, it's not weird that you can get into my house. That makes sense. It would be weird if you could get into my house and my wife has never told me that you can just access my house, and then randomly you show up and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, that's weird. But, like, okay, that's just
But you
like,
also live here.
Yeah.
He didn't live there.
Fair point. But, like, I more or less meant, like, the details is always been weird to me. Like, it would be strange to me if the first time we've ever really met and you're like, oh yeah, and your mom lives here and you do this, and I'm like, why the fuck do you know all that?
Yeah, well, Josh is learning some scary things about Paula.
Aren't we all?
Mm-hmm. Some of the things Paula knows are not things that Rebecca told her.
Like her password. I like how Daryl's like, that's not okay. Because I think that's her work laptop.
Probably.
Yeah, or a laptop she uses. She at least does work on that laptop.
Yeah, so they're all worried about her. And Josh even, like, was there to have some sort of come to Jesus moment with her.
What was he doing over there?
I feel like he was gonna tell her that maybe he couldn't see her anymore, or I don't know, because he's, like, decided to commit to Valencia. So I think he is...
Are we sure about that?
That's what he said to Valencia. But then he had that look on his face, so I don't know.
So that was the thing that I was curious about, is, like, when he went over there, because, like, if it was just we, like, gotta break this friendship off, that's not, like, a thing you have to urgently do.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that he is responding about, like, I had to see her, I need to talk to her, it sounds like this conversation is going to be something else.
I do think that it transitioned a little bit from, like, because she just didn't respond, which is not usual for her, so he's worried about her.
But he kept doing it.
Yeah.
Like, it's only been, like, a day. So
It's been less than a day. I think she left today.
Okay, yeah, so even less than a day. It's like, it's like, it does seem like that he was a little bit more, there was more urgency to this conversation than just a kind of simple, like, hey, this isn't going to work between us, we can't do this.
Well, and I understand why Daryl, because she didn't show up for work, although I feel like she often doesn't show up for work, but she probably usually tells him.
I feel like she shows up and then leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's weird.
I also really liked when Rebecca comes back.
At the very
right
end?
Before she comes in, they play I Have Friends, like, in the background music.
That's the tune I kind of heard.
Yeah. It's like a very slow version of it, but I was like, you do have friends, Rebecca. They care about you.
In very different ways, but yeah, they all do.
Very different ways.
So I'm not I mean, this is going to sound weird. I'm not entirely sure Paula does. I feel like Paula cares about their friendship, if that makes sense. Like, her being in the know.
I think that Paula has a little... Paula's a little Cora. She's got a little, I know what's best for you.
Oh, yeah.
So you do what I say because that will make you happy. I think she wants Rebecca to be happy. She just is sure that the way that she wants her to be happy is the right way for Rebecca to be happy.
Maybe. I definitely think Paula's entire life revolves around Rebecca.
Yeah.
And the idea that Rebecca was leaving was basically trapping her in that boring-ass life that she didn't want anymore.
Yep, that's fair.
And then you're right. I think there's some core that, like, I know best for you. Because didn't she say she's a surrogate daughter?
Yeah, she does say that.
Though that's in the dream. Right?
Yes? I think so. I mean, it's hard to say.
It's hard to say. Reality...
Because we also got some of the scenes of some of those scenes before they were doing the dream. So I don't know.
It's not clear to me what happens in her head and what happens in reality because they kind of mirror.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. 100%. Paula... This was not a good episode for Paula, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Paula's way too nosy.
Yeah.
Paula's obsessed. She also doesn't seem to respect boundaries. Like, look, I wouldn't really care if someone... Like, if you wanted to crash in my house where I was gone, I don't really give a shit. I don't think you should probably be... Now, maybe women do this, but, like, I don't just wear other people's clothes.
I mean, I guess Paula showed up kind of as a surprise. She was dropping off the couch.
Sure.
So if she didn't intend to stay. I would have brought my own stuff, but...
But it's okay that, like, the bathrobe is a kind of a... Usually you wear your bathrobe when you're naked, and you're just now wearing my bathrobe while you're naked in my bathrobe. Mm-hmm. What's up? Like, why are we...
I don't want to be wearing your bathrobe.
No, I don't want somebody else wearing my bathrobe. That's weird. That's mine.
Do you have anything else before we get to lines?
I did want to talk about the one thing that I would say was really bad for Becca, and it's we never saw the jump from Josh doesn't love her, and then the next thing we know, she's moving back to New York. A, clearly she only moved here because of Josh. B, what a bizarre and insane decision to just immediately go, oh, I can't have Josh. Fuck it, I'm out.
And to, like, leave all of your stuff?
Yeah. Well, I guess, she could come back.
Yeah, like, maybe she was going to, like, look at apartments,
all those other things. But, like, once she can't have Josh, she's just like, I'm going to move back to the place that I was fucking miserable.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of, like, the push-pull of the, like, she did move here because of Josh, but she found some happiness in things that she's having trouble seeing because she only looks at Josh.
I think that's the problem, is that, like, she was lying to herself and believing that, like, Josh just happens to be there. But, like, no, the only reason you did any of this was because of Josh. And you gained other things that you just don't appreciate, and that's what goes to Akopian kind of helps her, like, hey, yeah, look, you actually have some things that are valuable.
Or you moved there because you wanted to be happy and you thought that Josh was the way to be happy. But there's other ways to be happy. You moved there because of butter? You moved there because of a butter commercial.
You moved there because of Josh.
You moved there because of the prostitute that is breaking up the butter advertiser's marriage.
As I think I said this before, if all of the other things happened and Josh didn't happen, she wouldn't have moved there.
Oh, I have a question for you.
Sure.
When they were in the Dream Ghost song, when they're going around and, like, looking at other people and talking about the Dream Ghost scenario that they're going through in their own heads, like, he's thinking about getting it, whether he should get it leave. They focus on one guy and say he's thinking about leaving his wife.
He's thinking about leaving his wife for a prostitute. I 100% had the same thought. Yep. I don't know if it's confirmed, but I was like, I'm just going to believe that it is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been making this joke for a whole season now, so it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case.
Who is the prostitute?
We gotta meet the prostitute. All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. I have quite a lot of funny... There were a lot of funny lines in this episode.
I have 7 lines.
We've already talked about a couple of mine. I have...
Oh, yeah. We've talked about...
I have 6.
We've talked about 3 of my lines. We talked about Silas's line. We talked about Half Christmas. And we talked about Worst Part of Being a Ghost. So I have 4 lines that we haven't talked about.
Yeah. I have quite a few.
Okay, go.
From when they're talking about the mother's love, and Rebecca says, I mean, geez, serial killers have mothers that love them.
Is she wrong?
Nope, she's not wrong.
Akopian. God, you talk too much. You know it's bad when your ghost dream tells you to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I just like this exchange a lot. When things get tough, I imagine my life is a series of musical numbers. And then Dr. Akopian says, yeah, I know. Thanks for the solo, by the way. I've always wanted to rock some sequins.
Great. Just fucking great. When she is talking about Greg, and she's like, wish he were a search term on porn sites. Damn!
My next one is related to that. When somebody says something, and then Josh turns to Daryl and goes, is Greg super hot?
Yep, I had that on there too. Because I'm like, is Greg considered... I mean, I know you find this weird, but like, I'm a man, so I don't find other men hot. And I'm like, is Greg considered super hot?
I think Greg is very handsome. I would not...
I never know what handsome means, because mothers say that like all boys are handsome. That doesn't mean anything.
I think that Greg is hot. I don't think that Greg is like... super...
But give him a number. That's why the number scale exists.
I think Greg is like an 8.
It's pretty high. 8's pretty high.
But also,
What's Josh?
It depends on who you ask.
You.
Me?
You.
Like a 7?
So you think Greg is hotter than Josh?
I do, yeah. But Josh is... I don't know. Also, Josh is so dumb that I just like have a really hard time with that.
I feel like that's one of those things that people always say to themselves to make themselves feel better. You can be hot and dumb.
Of course you can be hot and dumb. It just makes it harder for me to think that you're attractive. He's still got to be a 7.
If you created the perfect man and he had no brain, he'd still be the perfect physical man. If you could hear that, that was my wife yawning from a different floor, folks.
Wow, that's very loud.
Nothing will beat the time she sneezed and my buddies on the microphone said, bless you. And I said, that wasn't me. And they went, wait, where's your wife? And I was like, different floor. They're like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, you can hear that clearly.
We're loud sneezers in this family.
Seriously, because you're faking it.
Related to is Greg super hot? The follow-up when Rebecca says, the middle-aged ladies really dig Greg.
They do.
What you got?
I like when Greg is talking to Paula.
I have this one too.
Yeah. Paula, you should change your life. People do that. Not me. So he's actually aware that like he's part of his own problem here.
Yeah.
I like
and it also like he tried to change his life by going to business school and he couldn't leave because of his dad. But that's separate from the Rebecca issue. He's going to night school though.
He's going to night school. I think also the fact that like he's probably been doing the same dead-end job, hanging with the same dead-end friends. Like even in the beach episode, they always do it this way. They always do it that way. Like he's tired of the monotony. That was my last line.
Okay, yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
I have 2 favorite moments.
Yeah, I think I asked both of my questions. The Rebecca thing did confuse me, and then my other question was like, was this all fake? Is this just all like a dream? I honestly thought at the end of the episode she was going to wake up and they were about to take off. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, that would have made a ton of sense. Like this was just all in her head. But I'm going to assume going forward this was real.
Yeah, it was real.
Okay.
Well, the
dream was real. The actions that happened in the dream were not, but she really had this dream.
She really had the dream, and the things that were not the dream did really happen.
Even though they mirrored what happened in the dream. So we're not going to do favorite songs since there was only one song, so then favorite moments.
Yeah, I have 2.
I also have 2, though they're very closely related.
Oh, mine are... One of mine is a line.
You have a favorite line that's not in your top lines. Got it.
Yeah, because that's my favorite moment. Go. When Dr. Akopian says, do you know how hard it is to pass a Bechdel test when you're a dream ghost?
And for those who don't exactly know what that is, remind us all, please.
So the Bechdel test is a test that was created by Alison Bechdel. Cats getting fed. It's usually used for movies or television shows. And the episode or movie passes the test if 2 named women, have a conversation about something that is not a man. And it is shocking how few shows or movies pass this test. It's very low bar. And it even, you can talk about like your kid. If it's a man, that's okay.
Oh, interesting.
So it's just like a man,
like a romantic interest.
It's like yours or someone else's romantic interest.
But you could talk about like your brother, your father, your son. Okay, so it's purely not talking about your romantic. Or okay.
So very low bar. And yeah, I would say most episodes of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend do not pass the Bechdel test.
I would say none of these episodes. Yeah, so like I guess my weird thing I've always thought about that test that but the entire plot revolves around Josh. So I don't even know how you would do this. I guess that's not true. There are some episodes where Paula and Rebecca talk about Valencia.
Yeah.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
I guess if they're talking about Daryl, would that count? Because they're not talking about in a romantic
Maybe
fashion.
it doesn't have to be romantic, but I think it's okay if it's like your kid. So maybe it's not okay if it's. I don't know. I'll have to look that up.
Okay, that's a post-show lookup. The song Dream Ghost, since we didn't do favorite song,
like that.
Just amazing. Just fucking hilarious. Added in here. One of my favorite moments.
That's great. My second one is the tag on this episode.
Oh, the alien.
So she wants to go to the nearest planet with intelligent life and see a play, which same. What a good way to experience another culture. And then they actually go see a play, and they're talking about love is universal. It's very good.
We are so different. If I had access to space travel, that is the last thing I would do. You know what I want to do? Let's go fucking shoot some lasers. We have access to space technology. Okay. Dream Ghost Akopian was amazing. Mm-hmm. She is the definition of what I've been screaming for this entire time, which is we need to be able to have a friend of Rebecca's who says your shit is dumb.
Yeah.
And that was what we've needed. Now, unfortunately, it's in her head, so it's not going to be a thing that we always get.
She's also her therapist, so it shouldn't be her friend, but...
Agreed.
But it's someone for her to talk to.
But I need a friend who is that in this show. I think that would make this show more tolerable for me. Mm-hmm. Paula is annoying to me because it's all Paula. I need, she's the devil, now I need the angel on the shoulder so that we get kind of the balance. It can't be Greg, because he's complicated. It needs to be someone who is neutral. It could be Heather, but she's not even neutral in this anymore. So, yeah. Daryl? White Josh would be perfect at this.
He would be. I have one ridiculous moment.
I have two ridiculous moments. So, one of them is what we've talked about the entire time. Ghost knowledge?
Yeah, the dream ghost logic was my most ridiculous moment.
Yeah, all the things in the past make sense, because that's in your brain. How are you seeing real things that occurred?
I don't know.
Yeah, don't think too hard about it. It's just... I think the other thing that was ridiculous is that, how sad Paula's life is, and how she's just okay with completely obsessing over Rebecca, and doesn't seem to see a problem with it.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I think the point when Greg says, just, you need to change your life. Even Greg thinks your life is depressing.
Well, he was like, you can, if you feel that way, you can change your life.
No, he said, Paula, you should change your life. He does say, if you feel that way, you should change your life. People do that. Not me. But it was definitely
other people.
The show has also acknowledged that, yeah, Paula, you live a very... And she was kind of getting to that point. Do you know how many things I wish I could unsubscribe to? And it's oh, Paula. 2 losers, 2 winners.
I have no losers written down, but you convinced me to write down Paula.
I was Paula wasn't a loser for you?
Yeah.
Really? There's definitely one more loser, and I'm really surprised you didn't put him. Silas.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Love that.
And what's funny is that he's not present in reality in this episode, but his daughter found out that he abandoned her and didn't want anything to do with her. Yeah. Which, that's kind of a big loss.
No, it is.
So yeah, those two are my easy losers on those ones. Paula was just, her loss was more even though nothing happens to her, it was just a sad realization that you live a pathetic life. She lives vicariously through Rebecca.
Yeah.
100%.
And when Rebecca is not there, she literally lives in Rebecca's house.
Well, remember that song, I Want to Wear Your Skin and have you tell me I look good in it?
Yeah.
It's kind of how Paula feels with Rebecca to me. It's a little creepy. A little creepy.
Feeling kind of naughty.
Yeah.
I have one winner?
Why'd you say it with a question?
Well, because I'm just curious who your second winner is.
I bet your winner is Rebecca.
Yeah.
Because you have been itching to get Rebecca a win.
I haven't. I don't think I've chosen Rebecca as a winner.
I know, you haven't.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think you've been, because you've pointed out that I very really give her a win, so this one was a clear win for Rebecca.
Yeah.
The other winner is very clearly, in my opinion, Dr. Akopian.
Oh,
No.
yeah. She didn't even have to do the therapy to get Rebecca to agree to the therapy. That's a really good one.
She got a breakthrough with a patient while the patient was asleep, hallucinating her, and did all of the work for her. That is the win of all wins. And she agreed to more therapy.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Well, next time we're going to watch Josh's Sister is Getting Married.
I have to give you credit for something. You've always said I would really like White Josh. You also said I would really like Dr. Akopian. I really like Dr. Akopian.
I know you really like Dr.
Of the top
Akopian.
3 people I like in the show, it is some combination of White Josh, Greg, and Dr. Akopian. And Dr. Akopian might be one right now. Like, she was that good in this episode for me.
I just looked up when my favorite Dr. Akopian song occurs, and it's not until season 3, and I'm, like, really upset about that.
The problem is I'm going to spend too much time building up in my brain.
Well, I didn't tell you what it was. You won't know.
I will forget in 15 seconds. Okay, tell us what we're going to watch next time.
Next time, we are going to watch season 1, episode 16, Josh's Sister is Getting Married. I just said this like 2 seconds ago. You already forgot.
I 100% forgot. Did we see her in the Thanksgiving episode?
Yeah. I think her name is Gemma, well, he has a lot of siblings.
He's a big family.
He has several sisters, but I think we like saw her, but maybe like only heard that she's getting married in passing, if at all.
I would be very curious to get Josh's mom's take on the situation.
Well, Rebecca gives good parent, so and we know she doesn't like Valencia.
But most mothers are still not, even if you don't like the girl, you usually never condone your son doing something that you disagree with.
Yeah.
Like cheating. Most people don't like their sons cheating. Even if you think that girl is bad for him, you want him to do it the right way. So I'd be very curious to see what Mrs. Chan thinks of this whole goofy-ass situation.
I love Mrs. Chan.
She's great. The more we watch the show, the more the show does feel like Suddenly Susan? Is that the show with Brooke Shields? Where it's like, I really like the side characters. I just don't love...
One of my favorite things about the show is how much time they spend on the side characters and they give them arcs.
I mean, the show has a bit of the ensemble cast. I mean, it's clearly like she's the star.
Yeah.
But they do give them arcs and grow. I mean, Daryl has a... What's the song in the last episode?
I'm Getting By.
Getting by. Yeah. He has like a whole thing. Paula has a bit of a thing in that episode with her husband. So, like, they all get some depth. I think.
Well, they'll get more.
And they'll get more, certainly. I'm looking forward to that. When do we move off the Josh obsession?
Well, the episode after that is called Why is Josh in a Bad Mood?
Okay, after that.
And then it's called Paula Needs to Get Over Josh. So it's not, Rebecca is not centered.
Interesting. Okay, so we're finally getting here. The curse is almost broken.
Well, please be sure to join us next time when we watch Season 1, Episode 16, Josh's Sister is Getting Married.
We'll see you next time.